A lot of people keep saying that turn-based combat is dying. But the reality is that in 2026, we're living through a true golden age. Strategy and careful planning are back in the spotlight, proving that sometimes slowing down the pace is exactly what makes an adventure unforgettable. That's why in this video, I've handpicked 12 turn-based RPGs that are absolute must-plays right now in 2026. Whether you're a veteran tactician or a newcomer looking for your next obsession, these titles are the gold standard of the genre.
It's a story about a world very different from ours.
If Atlas had already reached the peak of the genre with Persona 5, they took all that expertise and poured it into a medieval fantasy world that is simply breathtaking. Metaphor ReFantazio isn't just Persona in a suit of armor. It has a striking identity of its own and features some of the most elegant art direction I've ever seen in gaming history. Here, you enter a magical election race to decide the next king, and this political premise adds incredible weight to every alliance you forge throughout your journey. The turn-based combat system is the definition of perfection. They introduced archetypes, which function as classes you can swap and evolve, allowing for an insane amount of strategic freedom when building your party. One thing I absolutely love is how they fixed the grind. If an enemy is much weaker than you, you can just take them down in real time on the map without even entering the turn-based screen. But when the fight gets serious, the press turn system shines, requiring you to exploit weaknesses and plan every move to avoid being wiped out. It's a deep RPG with an epic soundtrack, those Gregorian chants will give you chills, and a message about hope and fear that really resonates. For anyone who is waiting for a sale to join the race for the throne, the time is now. In 2026, the game is appearing with much more accessible price tags. On PC, via Steam or major digital stores, you can find it for approximately $25, while on consoles, the price is hovering around $30. With discounts already hitting the 50% to 60% range, it's a mandatory investment for any turn-based fan. Mixing turn-based strategy with real-time exploration and a heavy dose of stealth is the recipe that makes Mutant Year Zero: Road to Eden one of the most original games on this list. Forget your generic heroes in shining armor. Here, you lead a squad of mutants, including a jacket-wearing duck and a grumpy boar, trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic Earth where humanity has become a myth. The real game changer is how it lets you roam the map freely to set up the perfect ambush before the shooting starts. The tactical side heavily mirrors the XCOM style, with cover systems, hit percentages, and special mutations that can turn the tide of battle. The trick is to silently pick off isolated enemies before engaging the main force, because if you go in guns blazing without a plan, you're going to get wrecked. The atmosphere is heavy, the world is packed with secrets about the ancients, and the character progression is incredibly satisfying. It's the kind of RPG that makes you hold your breath with every stealthy move and cheer for every critical hit like it's a championship goal. For those who love a good bargain, this game is a total steal. In 2026, it frequently appears with aggressive discounts of 75% to 80%. On PC, Steam, and Epic, the average price sits between $4 and $6, while on consoles, it usually pops up for around $9. For that price, you get an intense campaign and one of the coolest settings in the genre.
Damn, I'm good.
If we're talking about turn-based RPGs with personality, there's no way we're leaving Ichiban Kasuga out of the conversation. Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth is living proof that the Yakuza franchise, now officially Like a Dragon, absolutely nailed the transition to turn-based combat. This time, the story kicks things up a notch and takes us to the sunny beaches of Hawaii, teaming up our optimistic hero with the legendary Kazuma Kiryu for a journey that's both the funniest and most emotional thing you'll play this year. The combat system has evolved massively since the last game. Now, you can move your characters freely during your turn to find the perfect attack angle or grab environmental objects, like a bicycle or a traffic sign, to deal that sweet extra damage. The creativity in the job system is still insane. You can be a surfer attacking with boards, a chef using fire, or even a Dondoko Island manager. Speaking of which, the side content is unbelievable. You could easily sink 50 hours just managing your own island Animal Crossing style without even touching the main plot. It's the ultimate entertainment package with a narrative that hits hard on themes like family, redemption, and legacy. Now, in 2026, the game has entered that sweet spot of aggressive sales. On PC, Steam, you can pick up this masterpiece for roughly $20.99. On consoles, PS Store/Xbox, digital sale prices usually sit around $25 to $27. With discounts hitting 60% or more, it's one of the most complete and fun RPGs you can have in your library. Since you've made it this far, I'm guessing you're enjoying the video. On behalf of all the RPGs in this list, I'm asking you to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. This helps YouTube keep delivering my deep dives straight to your feed.
Time is right.
Let 'em have it, fellas!
Bringing one of the greatest PlayStation 2 classics to the modern era was the best gift Atlus could give to JRPG fans. Persona 3 Reload isn't just a fresh coat of paint. It's a full-scale reconstruction that took the fluid, stylish combat of Persona 5 and applied it to that melancholic and unforgettable story about life, death, and the value of time. The routine of being a student by day and a shadow hunter during the dark hour remains as addictive as ever. The social link system is more polished than ever, making you truly care about each teammate and the city's inhabitants. When night falls and you enter Tartarus, the combat shines with the shift mechanic, which allows you to pass your turn to an ally after hitting a weakness, creating devastating and visually stunning combos. The soundtrack was completely re-recorded and remains one of the best in gaming history, mixing pop, rap, and jazz in that unique Persona way. It's a game that makes you laugh, cry, and reflect on how we are spending our days. For those keeping an eye on the price, 2026 is the perfect year to secure your copy. On PC via Steam or other digital stores, the game frequently appears in sales for approximately $19.99. With discounts hitting the 60% to 70% range, it's the ideal moment to experience or relive this epic journey. You know that feeling of a warm hug for your inner child who grew up playing the SNES? Sea of Stars is exactly that, but with all the technology and polish we demand in 2026. Sabotage Studio managed to create a true love letter to classics like Chrono Trigger and Super Mario RPG, but without getting trapped in pure nostalgia. The result is a vibrant RPG with some of the most beautiful pixel art you've ever seen, and a lighting system that will leave anyone jaw-dropped. The real triumph of the turn-based combat here is the dynamism. Forget about just pressing a button and waiting for an animation to end. In Sea of Stars, timing is everything. You need to hit the button at the exact moment of impact to deal extra damage or defend yourself better, keeping you engaged the entire time. Additionally, the lock system forces you to think strategically about which damage types to use to cancel out powerful boss attacks. The gameplay is lean, with zero bloat or the need to grind for hours killing generic mobs. The progression is smooth and deeply respects your time. For those who want this gem in their collection, the price is sensational now that the game has solidified itself as a modern classic. It appears constantly in aggressive sales, especially on Steam and other digital storefronts, for approximately $6.99 to $8.99.
Humans need the will to survive.
If you think Persona is the limit for Atlus, get your heart and your patience ready, because Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is the older, darker, and much harder brother of the family. In 2026, this definitive version has solidified itself as one of the best entry points for the main franchise. It fixed practically every performance issue from the original launch, and packed in an absurd amount of new content, including a completely new story route that changes everything we thought we knew about the fate of Tokyo. The combat here is the legendary press-turn system in its purest and most cruel form. Every elemental weakness you hit grants you an extra turn, but be careful. If the enemy does the same to you, your entire team can be wiped off the map before you even blink. The magic of SMT is in the demon recruitment and fusion. You'll spend hours negotiating with bizarre creatures and fusing them to create the perfect team to go toe-to-toe with gods and angels. Exploration in the open maps of the Da'at is much more fluid now, with new fast travel points and abilities that make the journey through this post-apocalyptic desert both a tense and rewarding experience. For those who love a real challenge and aren't afraid to see the game over screen a few times while learning the right strategy, this game is mandatory. Now, in 2026, it frequently appears in very enticing sales for approximately $24.99 to $28.99, moving away from that steep launch price.
Of Lilith. Fallen.
If you think the Marvel Universe has already given everything it has to offer in gaming, Marvel's Midnight Suns is here to prove you wrong. Developed by Firaxis Games, the masterminds behind the XCOM series, this game swaps button-mashing action for a tactical card system that is, without exaggeration, one of the most addictive mechanics of recent years. Playing as the Hunter, a fully customizable character, you lead an unlikely team of classic icons like Iron Man and Wolverine, alongside mystical figures like Blade and Ghost Rider. The real stroke of genius here is the mix of deep strategy and social simulation. When you aren't blowing up demons in turn-based battles that force you to use the environment to your advantage, you're hanging out at the Abbey, the team's secret base. This is where you develop friendships with the heroes, join book clubs with Blade, or just go fishing with Spider-Man. These interactions aren't just for show. They strengthen your bonds and unlock powerful abilities for the battlefield. It's a massive script filled with high-quality fan service and a combat system that deeply rewards careful planning. For the bargain hunters out there, by 2026, this game has become the absolute king of cost-benefit. It constantly appears with aggressive discounts hitting the 85% mark, making the price practically irresistible on both PC and consoles for around $9.
Oh, this should be good!
We will not be
When Square Enix first announced the HD 2D style, it changed the standard for retro-inspired RPGs. But it was in Octopath Traveler II that this aesthetic reached perfection. Forget the idea that sequels are just more of the same. This game takes everything the first one did well and cranks it up to 11, specifically fixing the community's biggest complaint, the lack of interaction between characters. This time around, the 8 individual stories are far more engaging and intersect organically through crossed paths, making you feel like you're actually part of a cohesive adventuring party rather than 8 strangers just walking together. The break and boost combat system remains one of the most strategic and satisfying in the genre, but the real game changer is the addition of latent powers. Each character has a special meter that, once full, unleashes a unique ability that can completely turn the tide of battle. On top of that, we have a day and night cycle that you can toggle with a single button, which changes your party's path actions and the NPCs you encounter. It's a hardcore JRPG at heart, but with a modern polish that makes every battle and conversation feel meaningful. By 2026, this title has become a mandatory classic, and the prices are much more accessible for anyone looking to complete their collection. It frequently pops up in major store sales and digital platforms with deep discounts, usually landing between $19 and $22.
I need a play. Pierce them, winds of frost.
If you think it takes a team of hundreds to create an epic RPG, Chained Echoes is here to prove you wrong. This game is a true masterpiece, crafted almost entirely by a single developer, Matthias Linda. The result is one of the most powerful love letters to Super Nintendo classics we've ever seen. Forget the idea of a cute but simple indie game. This is serious business, featuring a story of war, politics, and betrayal that stands tall alongside the biggest names in the genre. The turn-based combat introduces a brilliant mechanic called overdrive. Instead of just picking your strongest move and hoping for the best, you have to manage a bar at the top of the screen to keep your party in the green zone. Be too aggressive and you overheat, leaving yourself vulnerable. Be too cautious and you won't deal enough damage. This makes every battle, even against common enemies, feel much more tactical and engaging. And if that wasn't enough, the game eventually puts you in control of sky armors, giant mechas, to explore the map and fight colossal threats. It's pure creativity that deeply respects your time. No random encounters and a fast-paced, direct-to-the-point progression. For those hunting for a great deal, Chained Echoes is one of the best bargains you'll find in 2026. It's a frequent flyer in digital sales on Steam and major storefronts, with prices often dropping between $5 and $7.
I made it. Just stepped off the star skiff.
If you think free-to-play games lack depth, Honkai Star Rail is here to prove everyone wrong. Hoyoverse took their visual mastery and created a turn-based RPG that is both a cinematic spectacle and a serious tactical challenge. In 2026, the game has reached version 4.0, taking the Astral Express to a brand new destination, Plain Arcadia, a world that blends vibrant aesthetics with the deep existential themes we've come to expect from the franchise. The combat is pure strategy. You have to manage your skill points and exploit elemental weaknesses to break enemy toughness. The real game changer is the ultimate system. You can trigger these at any time, even during the enemy's turn, allowing you to interrupt a boss's combo or save your team at the very last second. And the latest big update is the new Path of Elation, which introduced follow-up attack mechanics and punchlines that are completely flipping the meta upside down. With top-tier production, impeccable voice acting, and a sci-fi soundtrack that sounds like an award-winning movie score, it's a must-play. The best part? The game is completely free to play and remarkably generous if you know how to save your stellar jades. Right now in version 4.0, they're even giving away a free limited 5-star character. You can choose heavy hitters like Acheron or Aventurine, making this the perfect opportunity to start your journey without spending a single cent.
殴ったね。クラーラもみんなを守りたい。助けて、スワローグ。
Talking about turn-based combat without mentioning the father of them all would be a massive mistake. Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age is quite possibly the most comforting and charming RPG you will ever play. It is the pure essence of the traditional Japanese RPG, but with a 2026 polish that makes everything feel fresh and vibrant. The art style of the late master Akira Toriyama brings to life a world overflowing with personality, from the hero luminary to unforgettable figures like the charismatic Sylvando. The real genius of the S version is that it's the complete package. You can play the entire adventure with gorgeous 3D graphics, or, if nostalgia hits, switch to a 2D mode that looks like a high-end Super Nintendo game. The turn-based system is that classic loop we love, strategic, straightforward, and featuring the famous pet powers that allow for cinematic combos between party members. It's an 80-plus hour journey about fate, friendship, and redemption, backed by an orchestral soundtrack that makes every moment feel like an epic movie. For anyone looking to add this masterpiece to their library, the price in 2026 is excellent. Since it's now an established classic, it enters heavy sales on practically every platform. You can find it for approximately $8 to $12.
Let's heat things up!
If we're going to talk about turn-based RPGs in 2026, there's no way we can ignore the game that stopped the world last year and remains the main topic of conversation in every gaming circle. Clair Obscure Expedition 33 isn't just a game, it's a work of art in motion. Sandfall Interactive made a grand entrance, delivering an Unreal Engine 5 powerhouse with a Belle Epoque-inspired aesthetic that is, without exaggeration, one of the most beautiful things ever created in the industry. What makes this game mandatory, and what secured its GOTY status in 2025, is how it completely reinvented turn-based combat. It features what people are calling reactive turn-based. You know that feeling of just standing there waiting for the enemy to hit you? Forget that. In Expedition 33, you have to be engaged at all times to parry, dodge, and jump at the exact moment of enemy attacks, making it feel like a mix of Sekiro and classic Final Fantasy. The free aim system for ranged attacks and QTEs to boost magic spells keep the rhythm of battle frantic. It's a dense game with a heavy story about mortality and a world being erased by a cursed paintress. It's emotional, difficult, and visually flawless. For those wanting this next-gen experience without breaking the bank, in 2026, the game has started entering that sweet spot for sales. After hitting the milestone of millions of copies sold, you can now find it for approximately $29.99. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you enjoyed this journey through the best turn-based titles of 2026, you really should take a look at the video on the screen right now. In it, I cover 12 isometric RPGs that you definitely need to play this year as well. You won't regret it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Kairos RPG for more deep dives into the best worlds gaming has to offer.
It can be